Hey there! Are you looking for a way to convert XML to CSV in Python? Well, look no more because you just landed in the right tutorial. In this video, I will show you how you can convert XML to CSV in 3 different ways using 3 different Python libraries, so you can choose the one that best fits your program. Plus, at the end of this video, we will compare the 3 ways and see the one that is fastest and therefore more efficient. So stick around until the end and you will find out. XML is a format that is slowly fading out and being replaced by JSON. However, there are still old platforms and legacy systems that use it, so in occasions you will have to deal with XML. No matter which library you use, the steps to convert XML to CSV are pretty similar. First, you will need to parse the XML file, so the XML information is loaded in memory. Then create a new CSV file, then add the headers to the CSV file in case you want to add headers. And last, for each XML element, you will need to pick the fields that you want to extract, put them together in a row, and then add that row to the XML file. This is the overall process to convert an XML file to CSV. In this tutorial, we are gonna be working with this XML file, which contains employees. And for each employee, we have a name tag, we also have a role tag, and also the age. Alright, so let's get started. First, we are gonna see how to convert XML to CSV using plain Python. And that means we are not gonna use any third-party libraries, so no need to install anything else. We will use a built-in library. This library is called xml.etree.element3, and it will help us to manipulate Python. In this case, we are going to use it to parse our XML file. So let's open a new file in idle, and then I will import the library. Then I will parse the XML file, so I will say element3.parse and then the XML file. And in my case, the XML file name is data.xml, and it will be in the same folder as the script that we are writing right now. Now I will create the CSV file, so I will say open, then the name of the new file. So I'm gonna call it data.csv. Then the mode that we are gonna use, which is gonna be W for writing. And then the encoding system that we are gonna use, which in this case is gonna be UTF-8. And I will create a variable to have a reference to the file, which I'm gonna call CSV file. Now I need an object that allowed me to write to the file. So I will say CSV, which is the library, then .writer, and the file where I want to write. And I will assign this to a variable called CSV file writer. Perfect, so we loaded the XML file and we have created a CSV file. So let's start putting some stuff into the file. So I will start by writing the header. So I will say CSV file writer dot and then write row and then a list of the headers that I want to add, which are gonna be name, role, and age. And now we are gonna go through each item in the XML file, extract the information, and write a row for each item in the XML. So I will say for employee in xml.find all employees, which is the XML tag, and this will go through each item in the XML. Then if employee, and here I will extract the information. So I will extract the name, so I will do employee.find and then the tag, which is gonna be name, and then I will assign it to the variable name. And I will do the same for the other two attributes, role and age. Now I will put these values into a list. So square brackets, then name.test, role.test, and age.test. And I will assign this to the variable CSV line. And now that we have our line with the employee information extracted from the XML file, I'm gonna push it to the file using the writer. So I will say CSV file writer.write row and the line. And that's all. So let's run this. And once the script completes, a new file will show up in the same folder as the script. And this file will contain the XML information but in CSV format. So that's the first way to convert XML to CSV. Another way of working with XML is using the xml.todict to convert the XML to a Python object. This will allow us to avoid all the XML processing. So to use this library, first we need to install it. So I will open the terminal and I will do pip3 install xml.todict. And now let's see the changes that we need to make in our script to use this new library. So we are going to change the parsing step. Here I will open the file and then say xmltodict.parse and xml file.read. And this will load the XML file and convert it into a Python object. And also let's change the name of the XML file. So I will change it to data2.csv. And another bit that we need to change is the line where we extract the information from the XML file. To go through each employee, I will replace the find all method by XML, then employees, and then employee, which are the XML tags containing the employee information. And now to access each of the fields, I will say employee, then square brackets, and then the XML tag I want to access. And that's all I need to change. As you can see, the script is quite similar to the previous one. So let's run it and make sure it works. Perfect! Now I have another file in CSV format containing the XML information. And the last approach that we are gonna see is using untangle, which is another library that can help you to parse XML and also make the data easily accessible. Untangle is also a third-party module or library, so I will open the terminal and install it using pip. Now let's see how we are gonna change our script to use untangle. I will import the library first, then I will change the parse section, so I will say untangle.parse and the XML file. And as you can see, in this case, I don't have to separately open the file. The library will do that for me, which is always handy. And I will change the new CSV file, so this time it will be data3.csv. And now in the for loop, to retrieve all employees, I will say xml.employees.employee. So instead of using square brackets, Untangle makes it a bit nicer by using the dot notation. And to extract every field, I will say employee.name.cdata. And the same for the other two fields. Alright, we just finished changing the file, so let's check if it works. And awesome! There is a new file called data3 in CSV format with all the XML information. Alright, so since the three approaches are very similar, I guess you are wondering which one should you choose. I think choosing the fastest one is always a good idea, so let's compare the three scripts. So I have a file here with 600 employees, so let's run each of the scripts using this file and see which one is the fastest. So this is the script that is using the xml.etree library, so let's run it. And this is the time to complete, so it was 6.8 milliseconds. So let's run it again, now it was 4.9 milliseconds, so slightly less. Now let's run the script that used the xml.todict library, and that took 21 milliseconds. So it's more than double. Let's run the script that used the untangle library, and that took a lot more, 46 milliseconds. Alright, so as you can see, the xml.etree library, which is a built-in library, is much faster than the other two. Awesome, so we reached the end of this tutorial where you learn how to convert an XML file to CSV using Python. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you in the next one.